Why does trauma affect the brain to cause sensory overload? Imagine your senses are like a finely tuned orchestra, each instrument playing in harmony. When trauma enters the picture, it's as if the conductor loses control and the music becomes chaotic. Trauma impacts the brain in ways that can make ordinary sensory signals feel overwhelming or even unbearable. This is because trauma, especially when it leads to conditions like post-traumatic stress disorder, changes how certain brain regions and neural pathways work to process sensory information and regulate emotions. The brain is constantly taking in signals from the environment and the body. Normally, it filters out unnecessary information so we can focus on what matters. But in someone who has experienced trauma, chronic stress, and heightened arousal, can cause changes in key areas like the brainstem, prefrontal cortex, and sensory cortices. The brainstem, which handles primitive sensory signals related to survival, can become dysregulated. This dysregulation can trigger exaggerated fight or flight responses or freezing reactions, which prioritize immediate survival over nuanced sensory interpretation. As a result, even harmless stimuli like bright lights or loud sounds can seem intense or threatening. Trauma also weakens the brain's ability for top-down regulation, which is the prefrontal cortex's job. This part of the brain helps control emotional responses and filters sensory input. When its influence is diminished, sensory information can feel chaotic or threatening, leading to sensory overload. Neural pathways involved in integrating sensory information may become disrupted, causing some stimuli to feel excessively irritating or difficult to ignore. For example, a person might find a simple touch or a sudden noise overwhelming, reacting with alarm or distress. Stress, pain, and fatigue that often accompany trauma can further heighten sensory sensitivity. This makes it harder for individuals to tune out irrelevant stimuli, creating a cycle where sensory input triggers anxiety or panic. This heightened state of alertness can make everyday environments feel like a constant threat, especially for children or teenagers whose brains are still developing coping skills. From the perspective of post-traumatic stress disorder, these sensory processing issues are part of the brain's survival response. The brain's protective mechanisms become overactive, which can interfere with normal sensory experiences. Treatments aimed at trauma often focus on helping individuals regain a sense of safety and improve how their brain processes sensory information. This might involve therapies that address both emotional regulation and sensory integration, helping the brain reestablish healthier connections. In summary, trauma affects the brain by changing how it processes and filters sensory input. It causes hypersensitivity, reduces the brain's ability to filter out irrelevant stimuli, and triggers defensive responses that can feel overwhelming. Understanding these neural changes is essential for providing effective support and treatment for those dealing with trauma-related sensory overload. If you or someone you know is experiencing these symptoms, consulting a healthcare professional can help develop a personalized approach to healing and managing sensory sensitivities.